What's happening, everybody? In the first video of this series, I showed you in depth how I installed a 45-pound thrust jet engine on a kayak. That was a fun video. It was long, but there was a lot to show you. In this video, what I want to do is show you how I initially started this thing. I had never started a jet engine, so luckily I had some friends who had a little expertise and showed me how to get it done. Boom. The very first step was to take the diesel fuel and oil and pour it into the gas tank on my kayak. That's something that nobody should ever have to say. Okay. All right, we got a little bit of fuel in there. We'll put our gas cap on. And we'll see if we can get this thing to run. Okay, so making these things run is not exactly a piece of cake. I mean, there's all kinds of pumps and electronics and batteries and fancy stuff, things that were a little bit outside of my area of expertise. So I've reached out to AeroPanda, and the owner of the company came and is willing to help me out. So many thanks to AeroPanda. I kind of owe you guys one. This is Manny. What Manny's doing right here is figuring out why my ECU wasn't turning on, and it turned out that I had overcharged one of the batteries. By hooking it up to a bilge pump I had laying around, we were able to draw some of the voltage out and bring the thing back to life. Okay, we got a little fuel in there now.
Yeah, that's good there.
And this is Danny, the co-owner of AeroPanda. What he's doing is figuring out how to purge the lines of air and get fuel from the tank to the engine. We were having a lot of trouble with that, and it was his brilliant idea to use some air pressure to push fuel through the lines, and using that trick, we were able to get the lines primed. That's yet another thing I would have had a lot of trouble figuring out.
And, I mean, if there's fuel up in them, it's not, you know, if you can see fuel here,
yep,
it's fine. But if it's all kind of siphoned back down, then it's best to prime it again.
Next, Manny and Danny taught me how to trick this kayak's computer into thinking that there was a trim signal. We did that with this pin here by moving the throttle up and teaching the computer the difference. All you RC guys know that a trim signal is usually achieved with a switch, but this is it. This is all I got. This is my only control. I don't have a fancy RC controller with a trim switch. Anyways, they taught me that without it, I wouldn't know how to trick the computer, and by doing it, now all I had to do to start it was to throttle up and throttle down with the trim signal up. I don't know if that makes sense, but it didn't to me at first, but now it's clear as day, thanks to these guys at AeroPanda. I had already bought the engine and didn't know what to do. They just showed up out of the kindness of their heart. So guys, you are awesome. Anyways, in this next segment, Manny shows me how to teach the computer, not using this, but using the controls that he brought. And at one point, he puts the trim up, throttles up, throttles down, and for the first time, I got to hear this thing scream to life.
First thing you want to do is teach the throttle input. So for that case, we came to the radio signal. And you see where it say RX. If I move my pod, if I move my pod, they move the signal, right?
Yep.
So that's what the ECU and the turbine, the computer, we were looking for, the signal. So we press OK. You say trim up, throttle down. So we go all the way down and we teach the limit down and the trim up. And we told the turbine that that is the limit.
Yep.
Then trim up, throttle up, and we go up and valid adjustment.
Throttle up, trim up, igniter heating. Hear it, yeah, Gordon. Oh my God, preheat.
got an acceleration error, but I fixed it.
Okay.
I went down in the throttle and it wait until the pump recalibrate itself, and now it's fine. You're probably gonna have to retie these. So see, I see some vibrations, and just go and check everything. Loctite everything pretty well.
We have my earplugs.
Yeah, air plugs for sure. And
Holy moly, that thing's loud. It smells delicious.
yeah, it's a main color.
Oh, wow. What did I get myself into?
Well, you got it going.
That's awesome. I guess there's nothing left but to put this thing out on the water.
It's still at 220 degrees, and the usual just let it cool down until 100 and it will cool down.
Okay. Before I get on the water, I just wanted to say thank you to Danny and Manny from Aeropanda. If you are interested in RC stuff, what do you guys do? I mean, you got helicopters and planes and jets and...
Yeah, we are mostly in the high end of the business in the remote control. We sell everything that you will need for a jet remote control, helicopters, and mainly flying stuff, but we
cool
talk,
stuff,
yeah,
you mean?
cool stuff we mean, but we
Yeah, I
talk
mean,
with sometimes individuals like you that want to do something cool and different,
Yeah.
and we try to support it.
Thank you. Well, not only are they supporting me, but I've seen online the customer service is above reproach, so I just wanted to say thank you for coming here and helping me out, man.
Yep.
Wish me luck.
Cool
Yeah.
project.
Good
Thank
project.
you, thank you. Well, now you can see why I made that sign. I quickly realized that this thing that I attached to a kayak that's less than 10 feet long is no joke. I mean, it took me a month before I had this thing on the water with that engine doing its thing, showing me how fast this thing could go. But of course, I was getting my houseboat ready for a 6,000-mile journey along a path I'd never been on before. So yeah, I mean, I had some crazy adventurous things going on in my life shortly after I put this thing together. One thing I knew for sure though was before I put this on the water, I need to familiarize myself with the startup and shutdown procedures, and I wanted to be assured that this thing wasn't going to burst into flames or anything like that all of a sudden. So once I was familiar with starting this thing on land, then maybe I'd be ready to take it on the water. In the next clip, you see me starting it for probably the first time, all by myself. All right, one of the things I've been doing is trying to familiarize myself with this vessel. So what I gotta do is plug this thing in and it should start up. There you go. That's gonna do its thing for a second. I've added a pin right here, and what that does is it moves this forward, and that is now low throttle, and this is high throttle. If I pull the pin, I just started the sequence of it starting up. You hear that? Oh yeah. It's already burning. Fuel going through it. This is going to go through a startup sequence now, all by itself. I don't have to do anything. Okay. It's a little late for that nonsense. I think I've got this figured out though, so next time you see me, I'll be out there.